Hi guys. So I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and I have started kind of getting things together, and so I wanted to do kind of an introductory video on a series I'm doing, and it's going to be about anti-inflammatory eating. I don't have a great setup to be able to lay my notes in front of you to where you can read it well. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be reading it off of the notes that I have here. And so I'm just going to kind of do the introduction, and then the next video I will be talking probably more about other parts and components. So there'll be kind of some setup stuff, and I've already planned out the first week, including recipes and a grocery list and cost. So that's where we're going to start. So anti-inflammatory eating, I started looking into this because I'm always in pain. I had arthritis starting at a young age, and it's hereditary in my family. And throughout the years, I've had pain issues off and on, and it kind of comes and goes. It gets worse and gets better. And I haven't been diagnosed with arthritis, but I'm pretty sure that one of the only things that explains my fatigue and pain in different areas of my body all the time is one of two things. It's either fibromyalgia or it's arthritis. Regardless of which of those two it could be, if not something else, a lot of what causes a lot of issues like that is all inflammatory issues. So an anti-inflammatory diet is a little more all-encompassing for multiple kinds of issues. Inflammation, well, here I'll start reading the notes. So, chronic inflammation is a state of persistent activation of the immune system. So this can encompass a lot of different things. A Mediterranean diet is often cited as a good diet for anti-inflammatory eating. However, this is not what I'm going by as a Mediterranean diet. I just wanted to give that information. An anti-inflammatory diet can have these benefits. These are just the ones that I looked up kind of quickly as I went. It can help with chronic illness. It reduces high blood pressure and helps with diabetes. Assists in lessening bowel inflammation. Helps with fatigue, bloating, headaches, or getting sick frequently. So a bonus is that it helps kind of boost the immune system. And a lot of the diets out there right now, like when I've looked up a lot of different things, a lot of different diets for different stuff, it pretty much all comes back to the same thing, and it's a kind of whole foods, plant-based, non-processed food diet, which is really, if you bring it all together, it's kind of like religion. You know, everything believes in a higher power, and that there's an end thing. So anti-inflammatory diet can really probably encompass a lot of different issues. And that's why I figured it'd be good for a lot of different people. And I'm hoping to see a reduction in my fatigue and pain. Inflammatory triggering considerations. So things to avoid are sugar, fried food, red meat, processed foods, trans fats. Some food sensitivities can cause inflammation. Nightshades. The evidence for nightshades is actually pretty minimal, but they include eggplants, peppers, tomatoes, potatoes. And the chemical in those that causes the inflammation is solanine. SOLANINE. So the research isn't conclusive. Do your own testing for your own body. So, again, these are the things right here that most diets for any kind of health benefit tell you to avoid. Fried food, sugar, red meat, processed foods specifically. So keys to inflammation. So omega-3 fatty acids is a big one. It's probably the most common one that I've seen so far, and that can be found in fish, vegetable oils, things like walnuts and leafy greens. Fiber can be found in fruits, veggies, legumes, and whole grains. For example, barley, oats, and bran. other than fruits and veggies, which is kind of, and legumes are kind of self-explanatory. Whole grains would be the barley, oats, and bran. Polyphenols or plant chemicals. Those are found in berries, dark chocolate, tea, apples, citrus, onions, soybeans, coffee, and unsaturated fats like nuts, seeds, and olive oil. So those are all things that I'm going to try to include and in my list making have included. So inflammation symptoms or results. The results of inflammation or symptoms of inflammation. Arthritis, cancer, asthma, heart disease, diabetes, eczema, and autoimmune disorders is just a few. So a couple of notes I have at the bottom, way down at the bottom. Other things to avoid: white flour. White flour leads directly to a pro-inflammatory state. Things like breads, cereals, pastas, white rice. And then also, sadly, this one breaks my heart, but dairy products. Specifically cheese, milk, butter. However, I do use a little bit of cheese and a little bit of butter. I do use kind of smaller. I'll probably be cutting back on my dairy, like sour cream, butter, cheese. We'll put it that way. I try to avoid cheese because it causes me problems if I eat too much of it, much like most of us. And then I also looked up cottage cheese out of curiosity because it's usually kind of touted as kind of a more healthy thing. But it said cottage cheese dairy contains a high level of protein casein. This type of protein triggers inflammation and pain in the joints and may even contribute to irritation around the joints. So no cottage cheese for me. I would say if I'm using small amounts of dairy, even cottage cheese, and something that I'm making, it would be probably okay. But if I'm trying to just eat, a bowl of cottage cheese every other day, that's going to be more of an issue. So then I also looked at some other stuff such as complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates are made up of sugar molecules that are strung together in long complex chains. Beans, peas, whole grains, and vegetables, for example. Simple carbs. Simple carbs are things like raw sugar, corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, candies, cookies, cake, candy bars. So we want complex carbohydrates. And those complex carbohydrates I know specifically plays into diabetes when I've looked up a lot of research for diabetes to assist my husband. And then another thing I looked at was cookware. So the next video I'll probably be going over what I found for cookware. I found a lovely little article that gave me like all the different options and what some of the pros and cons are. So I'll be going over that in the next video. One of the other terms that I looked up was omega-6 fatty acids. The arachidonic acid directly feeds cellular production of inflammatory chemicals. So omega-6 fatty acid you want to avoid because it can increase inflammation. All right, so that is the end of my basic notes on that kind of stuff. And then I have all of the cookware. And I'll be going over my list of like foods to include. I think it's pretty comprehensive actually. And then I kind of divided it into main dishes, sides, and snacks to help kind of group things a little bit better. Things that I've learned over the years about food prep for specific diets. So, I've done keto and what did I do for the husband was the last one when he went vegan, but first he went plant-based. So we've looked up keto, we've looked up plant-based, vegan. I feel like there was another one, but I can't think of it at the moment. But one of the things I've learned in doing different things is that things get repetitive, flavors get repetitive really quick. So I'm really wanting to spread flavors out so I don't get sick of them. And I don't want to spend a whole day of my weekend prepping and cooking. So I need things that are easy prep. Some prep is okay, but not all of it having to be prepped. So if I can just open a package for any part of it. For instance, like garlic. I love fresh garlic, but that's another step that I am not going to want to have to take the time to do along with cutting other things. So I will probably buy the jars of the minced garlic, for example. Any kind of grated cheese or cheeses that I would be using, I will buy pre-shredded. Things like that to kind of help with the prep work. I've learned the hard way. As much as I would love to do everything by hand and do all of the grating and chopping myself, it ends up me being in the kitchen for 6 hours straight, and I'm not wanting to spend 6 hours on my weekend standing to prep and cook food. And most of us don't have the time or energy for that. So easy prep, enough for the whole week. So whatever I do, I want to get it done in one day and have enough for the whole week, which means it's still going to probably take up a good chunk of my a day, which is okay because that saves for the whole week. I don't want it to be too complex, too many items, too many specialty items like miso and tahini and all these other fancy things. A lot of the recipes that I've found, I have books behind me that we bought, and I had to buy all these specialty items to go in these recipes, or I had to have this to make that to go in this recipe, because there's like a no cheese sauce, and then in the no cheese sauce there's the roasted cashews, so I have to get raw cashews, and then I have to roast them, and then nobody has time for all that extra stuff. As yummy as those recipes are, I'm looking for really low cost, really easy, and how I can still incorporate a variety but yet keep it simple. Also, I have to consider that I need softer options because of my teeth situation. So I won't be going over anything that's probably going to be too crunchy. As much as I love like chips and crackers, those are, other than maybe corn chips, I have to look into that still. But, I love crackers of all kinds and chips. Anything crunchy I love, I'm going to have to be cutting out because it's usually made with white flour. And in order for this to possibly be successful, I have to keep it as close to the guidelines as possible. So that kind of goes over the introduction. I also have, what I started was a week little grid, and I have to change the muffin because I actually ended up going with cookies. What I'm finding with that is that as I'm laying it out, I'm like, oh, it's going to be tuna patties and pasta for 7 days. Well, I would have to make a whole lot of pasta and a whole lot of tuna patties in order for it to A, last 7 days. B, I'm going to get real sick of it, probably. Not always. If I really like something, I can eat it for 2 weeks straight and not even be bothered. However, I'm going to have to make enough that my husband can enjoy some too. So my portions are probably going to be larger than a single person portion, which means I have to buy double of everything, probably. We'll see. This might not be as feasible as I'm hoping it's going to be. But another consideration to think of is that it doesn't necessarily have to be all in all at once. So, I might try out the first week once it's laid out and skip next week for my week 2, and then on the third week do my week 2. Or I don't know. I guess I can adjust it however I need it. If I can only manage to stay on a plan once a month right now, either physically or financially, then that's what I'll do. Because to be honest with you guys, a lot of times during the week, what I end up eating is like beef sticks and chips and just grabbing anything that I might think might keep my stomach at bay for a minute. So there's other changes that I'm going to be doing. This is a kind of a rough draft of trying to lay out. I did a whole 16 weeks here and trying to lay out different combinations to see what it looks like. Trying to see how flavors go together and spread them out, things like that. So if you notice, I did things like Like salmon is specific, but tacos and fajitas, it could be any kind of taco, and fajitas, you know, doesn't necessarily have to have meat. However, my plan is to have, this is supposed to be a chicken dish, and I can use extra chicken if I buy a bigger bag to make fajitas or tacos with. However, apparently finding chicken right now is damn near impossible, so we shall see. So melt, they can be any kind of melt. A bowl, it could be any kind of bowl, like a Buddha bowl or however you want to do it. A skillet. So I've kind of generalized that list. And then I have on my index cards is going to be my recipes and my groceries for the week. Sorry if that was kind of fast. Then other things that I have to take into consideration is things like, for instance, I need to get, I've been becoming, hello, words are hard, more aware of the fact that I need to be using a glass bottle for my water bottle. One of the things that our darling Diane Durbin was talking about on hers, Diane's Cabin, if you haven't checked it out, was the recycle number here on the plastic. And I do believe that Nick's Coins said 2 or 4, and my bottle here says 1. I have been reusing these bottles for quite a while. It's probably my 5th bottle, but I will reuse them for weeks before I buy another one, and that's really not good. So this right now on the table is actually for my painting. When I'm using it in my paint trays, I'll squirt a little bit into one of my paint trays for extra whatever I need it for. So I need to do that. I need to get some kind of double boiler set up. Not a full double boiler. I'm going to probably do the cheap version because as I was reading, it's really not a, like, you can improvise and it's still good enough. I'm going to need some new pans. The ones I have are, you know, they have Teflon and they've probably been overheated many, many times and they're damaged. And so that's why we're going to be going over cookware. Because I have pots that are okay, that are safe, and I do have some pans that are safe, they're just too big. So as far as smaller pans go, because I do like to make smaller portions of things sometimes, I'm going to need to invest in some new smaller pans and throw the old ones away. So that's why we'll be going over that. Another thing that I have cheated on and done it the bad way is microwave popcorn. There's a lot of chemicals in those, and hopefully I will probably be doing some research and I'll share that with you on popcorn, microwave popcorn, and why it's not good. So I would like to be doing it a better way. I did find like the microwave popcorn that comes in the bags. I found some like little containers on Amazon that you can do microwave popcorn just with like the kernels. You pour them in there and it pops it. I'm assuming that's safer, but I need to do more research before I go that route. If not, I'll have to figure out what the best way is, but buying whole kernel corn to pop a different way can be done several different ways, so we'll look into that a little bit more. And I think I would also like to start getting some glass Tupperware. However, I will have to designate them as my use only. Otherwise, they will disappear and get used for all kinds of crazy things. So, I feel like there was one other thing that I'm going to need to look into. I'll have to get back to you on that. But that is kind of the introduction for the anti-inflammatory diet series videos that I am hoping to do. I hope that you join me, and I will try to keep them shorter. I'm not trying to do 20-30 minute videos every time, but we'll see how it goes. So thank you for listening. Thank you for coming. Hit that like button, leave me a comment down below, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.